this. Right now in Jerusalem, just speaking to Nick, it is 9:25 in the morning there. It seems calm at the moment, according to Nick. There's a security presence in and around the old city, but right now, no issues. Of course, it's the Middle East. Things change in a heartbeat around there. On Thursday, even though people took to the streets, they were a relatively small number compared to what we've seen in the past in other moments of heightened tension. What do you make of that? What does that say about this moment?
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if things went from very slow to explosive in the Middle East. Having said that, I'm still at awe what President Trump was after by declaring Jerusalem in that public sort of press conference. Ever since 1995, we have recognized Jerusalem as the whole, entire, and full capital of the great state of Israel. Now, by making this declaration, and again, there are reports today that the president did not have a full understanding of what was going on. But again, I'm worried about a couple of things. First and foremost, I'm worried about demonstrations and violence in the West Bank and in East Jerusalem. And I'm also secondly worried about violence potentially against American embassies abroad, potentially against places anywhere from Indonesia out east all the way out west to Morocco and North Africa.
Yeah, you make a very important point, because we did hear from the prominent and influential Iraqi cleric Muqtada al-Sadr after this decision was made, calling for a unified Arab Spring. How seriously should we take such statements from the likes of Muqtada al-Sadr and other influencers, if you will, in the Muslim world, who are basically saying it is time to rise up and basically protest and basically take to the streets?
Well, Muqtada al-Sadr is no friend of the United States. Now, having said that, I'm much more concerned with the reaction on the streets of Arab countries that happen to be American allies. I'm much more concerned about Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, even Palestine, for that matter. Now, Muqtada al-Sadr has had many sort of strange bedfellows, from Iranians for one side all the way out to anti-Iranian, pro sort of Arab side in Iraq. But what I'm worried about here are the Jordanians. They happen to be very good American allies for our war against terror, the Saudis, the Egyptians, and so on and so forth. So, aside from that, there happens to be a case to be made for potential violence on the streets of the Islamic world. We haven't seen much yet, and I hope we don't see much, but I think we will in places like Pakistan, Indonesia, and so on and so forth. So that's on the streets. But again, U.S. embassies across the globe have been placed on high alert, and that is definitely a risk to watch out for.
Yeah, it most certainly is. I mean, we're talking about the risk of violence there in, in Palestinian territories or in Israel and, of course, across the Middle East. But just very quickly, on the political front, in terms of the political fallout from this, there will be a UN Security Council meeting called by 8 countries, amongst them the UK and France. What's your thinking in terms of what the US is looking at going forward when we talk about isolation and what that could mean for other interests the US has that they needed a coalition for?
Unfortunately, this administration is not very interested in coalition building. Not most, but all our allies have been against this move. The president has not had a good grasp on things in terms of making a declaration in terms of Jerusalem. Again, when it comes down to our values and to our actual policy, we have recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. There was no need to push this forward and to antagonize and aggravate other parties. So when it comes down to the British, the French, the Germans, and other allies on the Security Council, except Germany, they're not with us. So I don't think that vote tomorrow is going to be with us. Having said that, the president needs to think about a couple of things. A, the biggest issue in the MidEast right now is the proxy war between the Iranians and the Saudis. does this actually matter so far to alienate some key allies to fight against Iranian expansionism? Secondly, on the whole issue of the global war against terror, is this issue, again, having recognized Jerusalem as the capital of the great state of Israel, does this issue today in the year 2017 matter so much for us to alienate allies on the war and terror? And even if their leaders are on the same page with us, their streets are going to face some trouble. And I don't think the president has thought this through. Having said that, we have to see what's going to unfold. And unfortunately, I don't think from Indonesia, again, all the way to Morocco, we're going to see any friendly news in the next days to come.
Yeah, that is indeed the concern. Arash Ari Aramesh, thank you so much for the nuanced insight and the great analysis. Really appreciate it. Thank you. We're going to take a quick break. Coming up, Europe and the art of the deal, a major breakthrough.